So I got here to town on January 12th, a couple days after the fire started. Fire was still going when I got here. And ultimately the state of California made a request for direct federal assistance to FEMA to have the Corps of Engineers come and help with debris removal. So the FEMA brought in the EPA and the Army Corps. The EPA was here in the very early days doing household hazardous material removal, things like fertilizers, lithium-ion batteries, electric vehicles, paints, etc. Once they were done and we secured a right of entry from the homeowner, that's the right for us, the federal government, to be on their property for the purposes of debris removal, we started working on these properties.
3.5 weeks after receiving the mission assignment from FEMA, the Army Corps was already clearing our first parcel, which was a Pasadena school. Some of the first experts that USACE brings on are experts in debris removal. They had responded to the Maui wildfires, and so they used that experience both previously in California and the Maui wildfires to create an estimate. FEMA's initial estimates for debris removal were about 4.5 million tons that would be removed from this fire. We're well over 2 million tons already between the Eaton and the Palisades fire areas. And then the partnerships with state, local, federal partners all pulling together, pulling in the same direction. That coordination, that synchronization, really important to the speed that we're able to remove debris in this fire.
We had 241 crews at our peak, and we were clearing on average about 120, 130 properties per day of primary debris, putting somewhere on the order of 3,000 truckloads on the roads each day, going to various recycling centers for our clean metal and concrete, and then our fire ash and debris going to the landfills. And on some Sundays, when we were the only person delivering material to landfills, we were putting somewhere on the order of 30,000 tons of material per day in landfills.
You see the removal of a multifamily home behind us. Up to this point, we've been mostly clearing private parcels, so individually owned homes have been cleared. We're starting to move into some commercial properties that are near schools, and also multifamily homes that were owner occupied. It's the same approach as personal property, and so the crews get on site, they do a hazard assessment. If there's any asbestos, that asbestos gets abated, and then they begin the debris removal. We use the wet method to keep the dust very low on site so that the fire and the ash don't become airborne. And we remove the fire ash, we remove the debris, then we separate other waste streams, metal, concrete, vegetation, all of that gets separated. Will Rogers State Park, this is a really key part in the operation that's allowed us to move fast, where we've set up a temporary debris staging and reduction point. It's centrally located, and what that is we bring clean concrete and metal and vegetation to that site, and it's able to be reduced. The concrete is crushed, the metal is compacted, the vegetation is chipped and mulched, and so as we transport it off of that site, it takes far fewer trucks than it would if we were taking the unreduced size of the material. And so then from that central location, those trucks head to the landfills or they head to the recycling points for the ultimate destination for those debris streams. And so that site, it reduces the amount of trucks that are on the roads, it reduces the emissions from what we're hauling, and just kind of reduces the number of trucks that people are interacting with on a daily basis. That's been a huge part of our success.
And today we're almost, we're over 90% of the properties have been cleared of their fire ash and debris, and we're about 84 to 85% complete, meaning we've returned those rights of entry back to the owners so they can start the next phase, which is the rebuilding phase. 30 people that we know of were killed by this fire, and we don't want to lose a single person in the recovery effort from the fire. So we talk about safety multiple times a day at our morning stand-up with my team, at the morning stand-up with the contractor team. Individuals are in the impacted area. You know, they'll be in a Tyvek suit and a respirator, taking extra precautions, in case any hazards are in there, because they're the closest ones to these fire ash and debris hazards. We make sure all of our vehicles are tarped, all of our vehicles are inspected.
This property that you see before us had a lot of steel remaining on site. It actually leans over the side of the hill here a little bit. And so each site presents its own safety challenge, and we have people dedicated to monitoring the safety of the crews at all times.
We've had a few minor mishaps, but we work very hard when we have one of those to identify it, to learn why it happened and what we can do better the next time so we can prevent something like that from happening. And we've had a wonderful track record so far in keeping not only our employees safe, and that's safety from punctures, slip, trips, and falls, but also any environmental impacts. We monitor the air quality. We want to keep the air quality as good as we can around the impacted area so our employees aren't ingesting any of the fire ash and debris. But also we do this because if we do it for ourselves, then by extension we're doing it for the community. And we don't want to cause the community any more harm or trauma due to our actions here to remove these hazards. I spent about 50 hours in my first month here doing public outreach, trying to answer questions and build trust with the community. That was a huge advantage to the Corps' mission here, persistent communication. So we have a call center, the county has a call center. These call centers act as a place where survivors who have questions can pick up the phone and get a live person who's living in this community in LA, who knows what's going on, to be able to answer their questions.
I worked with Anvil Builders up on the Paradise fire. Lesson learned from Paradise was to make sure we take care of the homeowner. That's like the most important thing out here. There's a lot of trauma that goes on, so you really want to let them voice and tell their story. That really helps them, the healing process, start.
The crew that's been here has been terrific. The planning was great. All the right equipment showed up when it was supposed to. All the right people with the right skills. They completely listened to us about that we wanted to save, in particular this chimney, which was a centerpiece of the architecture of the house, designed by noted architect Ken Gordon. So the experience for us has been very good.
I remember distinctly talking to a homeowner in Paradise, and he said, I couldn't see my future while all the ash and debris here, and now that it's gone, I can actually see my house being rebuilt. So on the human side of that, I mean, that's kind of the best part of what we're doing now, is we're helping everybody see their future.
Our plan is to rebuild, but not right away, because as you can imagine, okay, there's nearly 10,000 structures destroyed in Altadena, another nearly 10,000 over in the Palisades fire that started a little earlier the same day. We have a place to live. We own both places across the driveway. We are so fortunate in that regard. So we have time on our side. Right now we can't afford it. The prices that people are being quoted for rebuild are on a dollars per square foot basis are twice what we insured at, and we insured at a premium over what a conventional rebuild would be.
All my crew members and everybody, they talk about how proud they are to be here to help out the community and how the community has responded with all their kindness. And even though they lost everything, you can see the humanity come. They bring them lunch and breakfast and just showing kindness. It's really great for humanity. That's kind of what we're bringing out of this right here.
I tell you, there's not a day that goes by that I don't get a text message, an email, or a phone call from a survivor who tells me just how good their crew is. They give me some time to sort of mourn the loss one final time before they started to remove it. They did everything. They used lots of water. They kept the dust down. They explained the process to me. They showed up and they helped me look for some treasured items that I lost in the fire before they started debris removal. And when they found something, they delivered it to me in a respectful way. I can't thank them enough. That is a common email, text, or phone call that I get every single day. You know, we need to continue to move at the speed of trust, to build that trust and to have that connection with the public so that they know when the federal government shows up in a disaster, we are actually going to provide them a real federal benefit, that they can be proud to be an American citizen and taxpayer, that this is what they're going to get when something bad happens to their community.